Hi everyone, Ed Robertson, hoping you're enjoying the holiday weekend. We are taking a few days off ourselves, and we'll be back with a brand new edition of TV Confidential next week. In the meantime, we thought we'd bring you what we'll call a blast from the past, an excerpt from one of our conversations that you may have heard before, but probably haven't heard in a long time. We hope you'll enjoy.
This portion of TV Confidential is brought to us by our friends at Front Porch Realty, the community of realtors in the Northern Bay Area of California that is committed to finding the solution that is best for their clients. Whether you're a first-time home buyer or looking to sell or lease your property in Northern California, call Karen Strain at 415-886-7411 or visit frontporchrealtygroup.com for more information on how they can help you.
Ed Robertson welcoming you back to TV Confidential, a radio talk show about television that's pleased to welcome as our guest this hour, Miss Julie Newmar. Many of us think of Julie Newmar as the original Catwoman on the Batman television series. In addition to her many acting roles on stage, film, and television, she is an accomplished dancer, entrepreneur, inventor, and now author. And though Julie Newmar is still strikingly beautiful, she knows that the real beauty for all of us, male or female, young or old, lies in cultivating a happy, healthy inner life. And that's really the focus of our new book, folks, which is called The Conscious Catwoman Explains Life on Earth.
Well, a little tongue-in-cheek there, you know. If you're going to be on the curve of new ideas, which it seems, you know, nice behavior opposed to Beverly Hills Housewife behavior.
Well, I hear you on that. I mean,
sparingly.
Well, it kind of touches on something we talked about before we started recording. I mean, one of the great things about your interpretation of Catwoman is that you always, I mean, okay, forget the fact that, you know, she was villainous and Batman was the good guy. I mean, there was a playfulness that you brought to the role on many sort of levels, and that is why even watching the shows today, your performance still sparkles, and it's so much fun.
People wonder why the big difference of the more darker Batman interpretations, which have happened in the last several films. But you know, when you think about it, 66, 67, 68, really, it was pre-Vietnam, and the subsequent wars that we seem to have been indulging ourselves in since then.
Yeah.
And show business or film or anything is nothing more or less than kind of a mirror to how we feel as a whole, as a population, as viewers, as an audience. So back then in the 60s, yes, it was more playful. And to good reason, this show had fabulous writers. And also very good producers.
Very good producers and great performers. Such as yourself, such as Burgess Meredith, such as Cesar Romero.
Oh yes.
And it just, I would imagine that the opportunity to do something. And obviously you have a script and you're following the story as it's told, and you're following the directors and the writing and stuff like that. But because it is fantasy and because it is a comic book character, I would imagine that gives you a little bit of liberty in interpreting the character, would it not?
Yes and no. However, if you don't start with a basic truth about any character that you're playing, it won't matter what costume you put on, the audience just won't jive with you. They won't play with you as the farther reaches the outer, the silliness, let's say, when you do these particular kind of comic characters. So it has to start with good bones.
Well, how did you think about fleshing it out when you first started playing Catwoman?
You just speak the words. You let the words speak themselves. You get it, hopefully you're wearing the right costume. That sometimes 50% of the success. And oftentimes, actors overdo over this, over-rehearse. I've done it myself, and too much is done on top of a very good or well-written character. You see it in the classics.
You certainly do.
Mm-hmm.
You mentioned some of the writers on Batman. I believe Stanley Ralph
Ross, yes.
Did he?
That's his Angel Hyde.
Yeah, well, I think he...
Great big bear of a man. I used to love it when to see him come on the set. He always wanted to act and tried to write himself an acting part. But he was so brilliant. He was way ahead of all of us. He even wrote the encyclopedia of movies.
Mm-hmm.
An encyclopedia of films? Hello. That's already something. But he wrote 5 of the 6 shows that I did, 1-hour shows, as Catwoman, and he got all the words right. He would take the word cat, go to the dictionary, and find any word with cat in it, and the script became so lush with all this catatonic and cataclysms and you name it. We just had so much fun.
Once you established yourself as the character, and he would write subsequently, subsequent episodes, did he talk to you and solicit ideas from you in terms of stories or characterization?
Oh heavens, no! It was all in his fertile head. It was so brilliant. We delighted in the script that we had. As a matter of fact, all I had to do was just choreograph the words. And oftentimes I did that. Oh, I remember one instance, we were running late. It was about 8 o'clock, and the director, the producers were sweating buckets, because after a certain hour, all the crew members are put on what's called gold time. In other words, they're paid twice as much per hour as normally. And producers hate that. And actors, we don't mind, because we kind of tired at that time. But I remember setting up it was a seduction scene in which I walked down a series of steps, and there was a railing, and I kind of half slid, half walked down this railing, and positioned Batman himself, Adam himself, and the director. I said, now let me choreograph it for you. We can do this in one take. And sure enough, we did. And we all went home, and the producer was very happy.
As are we, because I remember that show. I think that's the one that ends up where Adam almost kisses you.
Well, there's several scenes like that, yes. Mm-hmm.
Well,
he almost does.
Yes.
And that creates the kind of tension that people seem to remember more than any other. So that's a good thing.
Yeah, no. It's one of the ones that I always remember is you and Adam almost lock lips, and then Boy Wonder comes along and says, "Batman, Chief, the police are here." And
Then and Batman says, "Well, what are we going to do about Robin?" And Catwoman looks around and says, "We'll kill him." Well, I mean, her natural cat-like brain. I mean, what else do you do with a nuisance or a mouse or something that you just bat around? You see, it's so plain outrageous that it's something people remember.
It's something people remember because of your performance, Julie Newmar. Julie Newmar is our guest this hour, the original Catwoman on Batman. We'll continue our conversation with Julie after this quick time out. You are listening to TV Confidential. Hi, everyone. Thanks for listening to the TV Confidential podcast. If you like what you hear, please consider subscribing to the TV Confidential podcast, or better yet, give us a review on Apple Podcasts, Podchaser, or wherever you listen to our podcast. One more item. If you're starting a company, particularly one that is in an emerging market, you know that averting any sort of legal dispute is crucial to your business plan. Our friends at Tectonic Law offer an array of services that can help you avoid and preempt future litigation while also developing and protecting your intellectual property and intangible assets. Tectonic Law serves the needs of a host of emerging industries throughout California and beyond, including industrial designers, beverage makers, artists, farmers, retail stores, health practitioners, wellness experts, cosmetics manufacturers, nonprofit organizations, innovators in sustainable practices, and libraries. Go to tectoniclaw.com to learn more about how Tectonic Law can help your business thrive. tectoniclaw.com. Rock solid representation for groundbreaking industries.